the video on the DBE's revised teaching plan, we reminded you that the theme of probability should be taught to grade 5 learners this year. The learners should be able to perform simple repeated events and list possible outcomes for events, for example, tossing a coin, rolling a die, or spinning a spinner. They must also count and compare the frequency of actual outcomes for a series of trials for up to 20 trials. When teaching probability, remember to apply the following principles of teaching. Begin with what children know and then teach the unknown content. Begin with concrete examples and then teach abstract content. Begin with simple problems so that children can build their confidence and then move to the difficult, complex problems. And of course, give children chance to practice, practice, practice. Introduce the learners to this topic by reminding them that in maths, they usually learn about things that are definite. Like 3 plus 3 equals 6, or 2 times 4 equals 8. The answer to these sums are always certain. We can say they are predictable. Ask children if they can identify other examples in which the results are certain. For example, the sun will rise tomorrow, and there are 60 minutes in an hour. Tell children not everything in life is so certain. For example, if we were to flip a coin, there is a chance that it might fall on heads, and there is a chance that it might fall on tails. The results of the coin toss is unpredictable. Ask children if they can identify other examples in which the results are random or uncertain. For example, whether the soccer team will win their match tomorrow, or whether it will rain next week. Now talk to children about things that have zero chance of happening. They are impossible events. A lovely example is, will pigs grow wings? No, pigs will not grow wings and fly. This is an impossible event. Ask children if they can identify other examples in which the results are impossible. For example, ice cream will remain cold in the hot sun. Explain that we use a probability line to show us the chances of something happening. The probability line goes from 0 to 1, with 0 showing that an event is impossible. Pigs cannot fly, and 1 showing that an event is certain. The sun will rise tomorrow. The middle of the probability line shows that an event is just as likely as not to happen, like a coin landing on heads or tails. 2 additional terms that children need to learn are that some events are more unlikely to happen and other events are more likely to happen. For example, if this set of blocks were put into a brown paper bag, it would be unlikely for someone to pull out a pink block. It would be more likely for someone to pull out a blue block. Once children understand how a probability line works, you can explain that we can calculate the probability of something happening as a fraction or a percentage. There is 0% chance of pigs being able to fly. There is a 50% chance of a coin landing on tails when tossed, and there is a 100% chance of 3 plus 3 equaling 6. You are not required to teach probability calculations according to the revised annual teaching plan, but if there is time, you could do this as a way to help learners revise their knowledge about fractions and percentages. There are some excellent videos on the internet that you could use to get ideas about how to teach this in your classroom. What the revised teaching plan does require is that children be given opportunity to play some probability games and through this, count and compare the frequency of an event occurring. These games can be done in different ways. You could have children play in pairs to spin a coin and count the results in a table. You could have children play rock, paper, scissors. This is a fun and fast game that will help them learn that if you do only a few probability trials, the results can be skewed towards 0 or 1 on the probability line. But if you do a lot of trials, like 20 or more, the results are more likely to meet the expected probabilities. At the end of this video, we will provide links to videos you can use to show children how to play rock, paper, scissors. A third probability game is the throwing of dice. Have the children throw a die and count how many times it lands on the different numbers. A simple spinner made with cardboard, a paper clip and a split pin is a fourth way in which children can play the probability game and count results. Secure the split pin at the bottom with sellotape. Instead of a split pin, you could also use a pencil as shown in this picture. Once you have the spinner constructed, give the children a chance to spin and see where the paperclip lands. Ask learners to list the results in a table in their maths books. Another activity could involve colored blocks or marbles or pieces of paper. Place these in a bag and ask learners to draw out a block and note the frequency of the times they draw out a specific colored block. In this video, we discussed how the concept of probability can be introduced to grade 5 children. We suggested that first children be allowed to talk about probability in everyday events, and while they are doing that, you can teach them terminology, such as an impossible event, a certain event, an unlikely event, and a likely event. The probability line was introduced, and the link to fractions and percentages was shown. We suggested that if time allows, you could let children practice doing fraction and percentage calculations. Then, very importantly, we showed examples of how children can play probability games and how they can count and compare the outcomes as required in the revised teaching plan. We trust that you will find the suggestions and techniques shared on how to teach probability in this video useful. On the next screen, we will provide links to worksheets that you can use during your lessons. You will also be able to access video clips and other online content to assist you further on this topic. Please pause to reflect on the content of this video and complete a short quiz. Just follow the link on the next screen. After completing the quiz, you can move to the next section of the workshop, which is about teaching data handling.